It's a great piece on ESPN.com about Devin Booker's development as a primary ball handler, a new age point guard, if you will. We're going to talk to Tim McMahon later on in the show about that piece, about Devin Booker, about the Suns. It's been a rough go. Couple games now running for Booker shooting the basketball. 11 of 26 on Friday night against the Knicks, 10 of 24 against the Wizards, just 4 of 16 from three-point range in that time span. But he's still getting his production, his points. The assists are way up. This is still a work in progress for Devin Booker. And I think that I can't call it an experiment because this is the way they structured this team. But this movement to Devin Booker being the primary ball handler has been largely positive. Outside of some sloppy late game situations, which I think the whole team has been guilty of, I think this has been a positive.
It's been a positive. It's also been difficult to really fully judge because how often has the starting backcourt been together? I mean, there was this sentiment that, yeah, we can get away with Book at the point guard because we also have Bradley Beal out there, and he can play it a little bit if we want to put Book off the ball. And I know you can kind of still do that with Grayson Allen. But again, it's like everything else with the Suns. It's so hard to judge and make definitive calls about where they're at as a basketball team because they haven't been a complete basketball team yet. And Devin Booker hasn't had his running mate in the backcourt. So we can see really what this looks like or what we hope it looks like come playoff time, or certainly later in the season when you want everything to be gelling and clicking. I will say this, Vinny. I don't know if it's weighing on Book, and maybe he just had a couple of subpar Devin Booker shooting nights, but it looks like Booker playing the point full time is not allowing Devin Booker to be the very best version of himself. And I'm wondering if they had somebody else, and maybe Beal's the answer when he comes back, but if they had somebody else to maybe let him play off the ball a little bit in spurts, we'd get a better version of Devin Booker going forward. I'm not saying he can't play point. The assist
Just
total is there.
Give him a spell every once in a while.
Give him a spell every once in a while, and let's be honest. At times, he's still learning the position. We saw what Darvin Ham and the Lakers did to him with the double teams, pushing him out back to the midcourt, I should say. He struggled with that, and there's been a lot of turnovers. And him and KD both struggle with turnovers. So it always hasn't looked great, despite the assist totals and the point totals are fantastic.
Yeah,
but it hasn't always looked great in terms of them getting into their offense and being a kind of a cohesive, functioning offense that gets into their sets. A lot of times it devolves into Booker and Durant having to go one-on-one. And I don't know if that's because they lack the traditional point guard out there on the court.
Like there's also, getting past December 15th, moving closer to the trade deadline, there's all these, hey, is this team going to make this player available? What's going to happen at the trade deadline? The Suns are pretty much hamstrung on what they can do. They don't have a lot of options on adding to this roster because of the way they chose to construct it. So I said it earlier, figure it out. You don't have Bradley Beal for at least the next 2 weeks. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker need to carry this team right now and make those around him better. And I still have faith that they will do that. And I think Portland is coming up at a good time. At least I feel that way going into the game. The Trailblazers are struggling. The Suns get another look at Deandre Ayton, who continues to be a fascinating study, in my opinion. When this trade went down right before the season started, Tim, I think we were all, okay, Deandre Ayton, he was good for 18 and 10 per game with the Suns.
He could fall out of bed and get 18 and 10.
Wouldn't shock me to see him go up to 22, 23 points a game because he's going to be more of a focal point with the Trailblazers. Nope. Not so fast. You thought the Suns had trouble getting him into the offense, and I haven't watched a lot of Blazers basketball, to be honest with you, from a day-in, day-out basis. I do check on his progress from a numbers standpoint, and there are a lot of games where Deandre Ayton's taken 5 shots. His shooting is pretty good percentage, as always, but his numbers are pretty much down across the board. He's averaging 6 less points per game, almost 6 points less per game with Portland in year one, where he should be more a bigger part of their offense than he did with the Suns even last year.
Vinny, he's averaging 12 points a game.
He's 12 and 10. Guess what Yusuf Nurkic is averaging? 12 and 10.
12 and 10.
Now, you asked a pretty poignant question. Do the Suns miss Deandre Ayton on the defensive end? I think you can certainly build a strong case for that argument.
I think so.
But offensively, you're getting almost exactly the same output as what he's putting out there. And you also got a pretty versatile passer and somebody in Nurkic that can initiate offense for others, where Ayton, that is not his strong suit.
I'll do you one better. Nurkic isn't half the athlete Deandre Ayton is, but I think he's a better offensive player.
I do, too.
I mean, I think DeAndre can maybe do some things athletically, offensively, that Nurkic can't do. But in terms of having an offensive game and a skill set and a feel around the basket, I think Nurk is more skilled, a more skilled scorer than DeAndre Ayton.
Especially on this Suns team without Chris Paul. Without Chris Paul to initiate a pick and roll with Ayton. Who knows how he would have fit with this current roster?
DeAndre Ayton basically, and it drove me nuts about him, why he didn't work on this stuff or work with a big man coach. Maybe he did, it just didn't work. But DeAndre Ayton basically has a face-up jumper, a right-handed hook, jump hook, and a dunk. Like, that's his offensive repertoire. Nurkic can do a lot more with the basketball,
absolutely,
scoring-wise.
He can put the ball on the floor. He can back you in on the dribble. He can shoot the three occasionally.
He's got touch around the basket and able to scoop it with each hand.
DeAndre Ayton said a lot of curious things on his arrival to Portland, and one of them was, they asked him about criticism, and he's like, I didn't pay attention to the criticism. I was just working on my three-point shot because you guys said I can't shoot the three. You know how many threes he shot this year?
Let me guess. With that comment, let me guess. 48.
0.0.
Oh.
Now, and let me ask you this. Of all the criticism heaped on DeAndre Ayton during his time here, of which this radio station certainly did its fair share, was ever once the criticism, he doesn't shoot enough threes, Vinny.
We all laughed at the time when he made that comment. How misguided he was.
But you were around DeAndre enough and watched him warm up before games. He'd shoot like 50 to 75 threes every game and have a good-looking stroke and knock them down in warm-ups. Doesn't even look at it, which limits what you do offensively. Your big man has to shoot in today's NBA. He has to.
He has the skill set. But again, like on the list of criticisms for DeAndre Ayton.
That was so far down on the list of criticism.
How about you develop a drop step and an up and under as a 7-foot monster in this league, and then worry about the three-point shot. You mentioned his shots, Vinny. I just looked at his game log because obviously I don't know it off the top of my head. His last 4 games, 5 field goal attempts, 8 field goal attempts, 8 field goal attempts, and then 13 against the Jazz last week.
And even more concerning, 25 free throws in 21 games. Which is lower than the pace that he had here.
That's because he doesn't have a drop step and an up and under.
That is true.
And all he does is to face-up jumpers and right-handed hooks.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.